But Jim, let's get Dynamite out of the way. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite this past
week.
Week.
Having fun. Now I'm going to make noise with my pen.
Will you stop?
I'm going to throw it down in a vehement fashion.
Well, AEW Dynamite was in your old stomping grounds, Knoxville, Tennessee. And of course, the big story, I think, on this night was, am I going to be able to stay awake to see Joe Schmo? Because this looks interesting. And I didn't make it. I made it like 5 minutes of the Joe Schmo and I fell asleep.
And for the people who might not know what you're talking about, normally after AEW's Wednesday night offering, it's a Modern Family rerun, or it was Impractical Jokers here for a little while, or whatever, some other program, and they just wipe out the first 6 or 7 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever the overrun is and join it in progress. But as I was doing my work, being a diligent show personality and recording the show that comes on after the show that I'm supposed to watch, so that I'll get all of the show I'm supposed to watch, the Joe Schmo Show, apparently it was episode 1, season 1 of a reality show where, tell me if I'm encapsulating this like the description said, they hire some guy to be on what he thinks is a reality show with other people, but everybody else on the show is scripted and in on something to flummox Joe Schmo.
Right, which seems really cruel. It almost seems like a billionaire's plot to like ruin one person's life. Like, I'll show them, I'll make it all a game.
Well, see, so it's a branch of AEW's programming. They got the flow. The flow now is finally, in the same genre. But yeah, they still overran, I think, 5 or 6 minutes, but then they started Joe Schmo from start in its entirety, thinking that, certainly people sit still for this bullshit they just watched. They want to see some more bullshit.
Can I say something here at the start of the review?
Please do.
I know some people are trying to dunk on AEW or whatever because they didn't fill the Knoxville Coliseum. I thought they made it look great on TV. I thought if you didn't know what it looks like full, you thought it was full.
There you go, because I was like, holy shit. But why don't see if you can look up and Googlefy how many people or how many tickets that were distributed for this show, because I swear to God, I don't know how they trimmed what they trimmed down, but that was 25% of the building. And every seat that you could see was full, but could that be 2,000 people?
According to WrestleTix, as of Wednesday, a few hours before the show, 2,467 tickets distributed.
Okay, well, and bless them, there were many shows that I ran there over the years that didn't have that many people, but there was a number of them that had more. But we were there once a month, so...
But again, if you don't know what that building looks like, I thought they made it look pretty good on TV, actually.
Yeah, because the thing is, they have the balcony that is low enough that you can shoot up and you still see, because in a lot of the other small buildings or in a lot of the bigger buildings that they have to trim down, they can't make a steady wall of people. But they only had like 6 or so rows of ringside on the sides, but they had a bunch of risers in the back so they could bring it up to the balcony. And it kind of, anyway, it was a sea of a few people. But I got to say this at the beginning, because everybody tweeted out the fan cam clip of Tony Khan coming out after the show was over with, I assume, and thanking Knoxville and making it specifically personal to the market. And he said, folks, in the 90s, when I was a kid, my favorite wrestling to watch was Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And if people, yay! If it was his favorite, why doesn't his show look like anything like what mine did?
I think most people also assumed, not that he didn't like Smoky Mountain, but that ECW would have been the one that Tony would cite as his childhood favorite. So it's nice that he said Smoky Mountain. It was a surprise. And it was a surprise. It was a surprise, but it's very nice to hear that. I mean,
Surprise, but it is nice. It touches my heart that he liked to watch it and didn't learn anything from it.
was there anything on this show either Smoky Mountain-esque or even just East Tennessee wrestling-esque?
There was a couple of things buried in here, but not like a complete, not everybody in the same thing. I mean,
Well, what'd you think of the opening segment? Because that was maybe the wildest thing on the show.
well, that's the thing is that if, yes, Southern wrestling, Tennessee wrestling, or whatever used to be wild and crazy and multiple people involved, but the key was that when they did something like that, everybody that came into it, the fans knew what the fuck was going on and why and who they were supposed to root for and who they were supposed to be against. And all those individuals were already over as individuals before they came together in that fashion. Do you understand what they hear me what I'm telling you?
I do.
And at the same time, occasionally in the old days, when they made some kind of fucking point, they would stop. Instead of then here comes somebody else, and then here comes somebody else, and then there's two more people fighting, and the people that were just involved in a goddamn angle, they're where are they? Somebody else, and then here we go with more fucking fighting, and we're out of. They did a 20-minute Tupelo concession stand brawl around a what was originally framed as a heartfelt talk face-to-face between two former enemies that might have been thrown together, Omega and Osprey. But from the top, here's my problem. Osprey came out. I think it might have been a new haircut. He didn't look as bouncy. Maybe he got a few locks trimmed off, but he's wearing tennis shoes and sweatpants and a puffy vest and a t-shirt. And he looked like some fucking nerd. Even when Steve Austin wore a t-shirt and fucking blue jeans, he still looked like somebody. All of these guys look alike because then here comes Kenny. And he gets the pyro and the lights and the grandiose music. And he's wearing tennis shoes and blue jeans and a long sleeve t-shirt, but at least it was his. An Omega shirt. But he looks like some fucking nerd. And then Tony Schiavone is supposed to be with these two to, facilitate this conversation because Osprey asked to talk to Kenny. And Osprey's first words are to this other big top babyface are, "Thank you for coming to join me today. I'm glad you're not dead." And that was a bigger pop that you just got or did than he got in the building. They just said there was no reactions. What the fuck?
How are you supposed to react to that?
I don't know. I don't know. And listen, Kenny, a lot's changed since you've been away. I've got nothing to do with the Callis family anymore. I was trying to stop them. But now John Moxley's got the belt. He's holding the company hostage. I can't do it on my own anymore.
Yeah, this accent's kind of taking a little bit of a twist here.
I don't know where it's going, but I don't know where this was going. He said, I can't do it on my own anymore. Like, what has he been doing? He hasn't fucking done anything to goddamn Moxley, has he?
Sounds like it's going to the Emerald Isle, if I had to guess.
But it's like he's single-handedly saved everybody from destruction when the heels are running rampant in this fucking company. And so he's starting to do the pitch to Kenny. You don't like me and I don't, but he gets interrupted because Kenny grabs the microphone. And just then I was thinking, that except for the preposterousness of I've been carrying this whole thing on my back, It wasn't a bad job from old Willie Boy. He sounded like he meant it. He got the words out in some reasonable facsimile of English. But then when Kenny gets started, oh, stop. And he's just, again, this fucking guy's, he ought to be doing the phone sex line. You were fascinated with Peter North earlier.
I wasn't. Let's not put that out there in the ether. I was not fascinated with Peter North.
Well,
earlier.
you were making allusions to all kinds of.
You named him.
You were alluding to allusions.
I was not.
That were lewd.
I was thinking of the opening of Misty Beethoven. So there.
Well, boy, I've thought about several of them. And Kenny is saying, "At Forbidden Door, you almost broke my neck," and I can't do it. But with that fucking breathy voice, he actually said, this is a quote, "At Forbidden Door, you almost broke my neck and stabbed me in the head with a screwdriver." The same one that Don Callis had used months before. And so I'm thinking, now it's all bullshit from here. Anybody sitting back and thinking, okay, I'm not going to be too fucking critical of old Will's statement. He's trying to make amends here, these two top baby faces, and he sounded heartfelt. And then when this next moron speaks, I'm either forced to rethink that because, wait a minute, so this guy stabbed the other guy in the head with a fucking screwdriver? Or I'm just actually going to say, well, fucking horseshit, because none of these guys stabbed each other in the head with a fucking screwdriver. Now they've just lost me. You can't believe anything. But Kenny goes on. "And why did you do it? All because you were trying to prove you were better than me. You weren't then and you're not now. And it took diverticulitis for people to know you existed. So now congratulations on being number 2, because number 1 is here." And there was a small pop there. And I'm thinking, okay, is Kenny switching heel here now on Will? And here comes Don with a screwdriver and he's going to shove it up somebody's fucking taint? I don't know. But basically, Kenny, if you're here to apologize, no chance in hell. I'll never team with someone like you, bruv. And then Ospreay's, well, listen here, you little prick. And then here comes Don's music. And out he comes. And again, loud music covers up a lot of. These people tried in certain points to be loud, but they didn't give them a lot of options. But I wrote, it's like a WWE show with no wardrobe budget and no crowd reactions. I mean, Don dressed up in his own particular way, but the rest, everybody, they just. And then Don started to speak, and Kenny fucking ran him back through the entranceway, but here came Take a Shit, who got in a sloppy fight with Kenny in the entranceway, but then Kyle came out and joined it, and Ospreay is in the ring like, should I, why, okay, and he whips off his puffy vest and goes to help. And did you see this time what I said on last week's show, or one of the shows we did in the last week, when Ospreay and Kyle have the hockey fight where they're doing the big punches, boom, 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 boom. It looks so fake, not only because of the fact that they look like shitty punches, but also because they're leading in and not changing their facial expression. They're so intent on throwing the alleged punches as fast as they can that they show no effect on their facial expression or their body language when they allegedly land. Does this make any sense?
Yes.
That's why it's as phony as a get well card from an Undertaker.
Hey, where's Mark Davis? Wasn't he involved in all this?
Oh, I thought you meant the former editor for Ring of Honor. Fuck, I haven't talked to him in ages. No, you mean the wrestler. I forgot there was one named Mark Davis.
Yeah, he came back. He was involved with everything because he was the former partner of Fletcher. And
yeah. And then he went back.
He's another guy who disappeared off the TV. Yeah.
He George Barnes'd him. So anyway, Ospreay and Felcher having the hockey fight with fake punches, and then they roll into the ring after they've had this big fucking fight on the floor and start doing running and ducking spots and handstands in the ring. And what the fuck? Oh, Jesus Christ. So then Osprey is on Kyle in the ring, and apparently he's left Kenny to fend for himself because then Take a Shit comes in, but Kenny's right behind him and hits the begonia suplex. And then Kenny pounds the mat and makes the faces and runs and hits the ropes and hits the other side of the ropes and runs right into a super kick by Kyle. And then Will beats up Kyle in the crowd as they go out through the... And folks, it actually wasn't as exciting as it's reading now. But it was as confusing. Osprey and Kyle are in the crowd, but Lance Archer jumps Osprey, and he beats up Osprey in the stands while the fans are holding their phones up and laughing at him. And out in the breezeway of the arena, Brian Cage is beating up Kenny, and then Archer and Osprey join them, and they wreck the merchandise stand and give Archer a double vertical suplex through the merch stand. Thankfully, there were no fans in front of it, so apparently it was the real stand. And then they fight in the arena when the security comes out, and they're trying to get them separated, and they've sent the security out because then, apropos of nothing, I don't know how the fuck they suddenly... allegedly in kayfabe, as the kids say, would have decided to just do this on the spur of the moment in a place where they ended up. But Kenny climbed up on the... Well, Kenny was on the lighting truss, the big lighting tower.
The one that I saw Pam Dawson knock over into the crowd in Knoxville.
The one that almost landed on all of the ringsiders. And there wasn't even a wrestler hanging off of it. But the lighting tower, Kenny is on the lighting tower, and Osprey is on the balcony railing. And I think they try to do it both at the same time, but they've climbed these things till they're at the equal level. And then Kenny looks over his shoulder at Will. And then Will looks back and gives Kenny the thumbs up. And there's 14 of these goofy fuckers standing down there to catch these guys. So when Kenny gets the thumbs up, he does the backwards swan dive off his lighting tower.
Which they miss.
The camera completely missed it because then once that Osprey had given the thumbs up, then he's got to step up on top of the railing and do his, and he did a backward swan dive off onto another 8 people or whatever. And then I'm thinking, yeah, at least it's got to be over by now. And no. Then they both climbed the fucking lighting truss. And the heels, Don was in the back. The heels are scampering off. And Kenny cuts a promo again. We're going to put you down under. And that's the place that we need to do it. They're selling a match for Brisbane, Australia, Knoxville, Tennessee in front of these people. Thought we're going to get this match, right? No. In Brisbane, Australia. That's further down the road than Cleveland. Cleveland, Tennessee, that is. Nobody from Knoxville is going to Brisbane, so they were like deflated at that. But Kenny apologized to Will. I guess I should have taken you seriously.
Minutes earlier, I will never team with someone like you.
I will never team with you. You fucking... I fart in your general direction and your mother smells like elderberries. And now it's we'll go together to Brisbane down under against Kyle and Take. And then he makes the challenge. This fumble-mouthed buffoon. He makes the challenge and they start playing his music. But he wasn't done yet. And apparently they probably were playing like the Oscars music. Jesus Christ, this needs to end in the truck, right? But Kenny keeps talking and said, no, I'm not finished yet. Fuck, at least you had something going there. And they drop the music just for him to say goodbye, mwah, and good night, bang. Now you can hit my music because I'm scared of heights. Oh, God. What a putz. I wrote, what a putz. But that's to answer your question that you asked Lowe these many moons ago about whether any of this was Tennessee wrestling-ish or Smoky Mountain-ish. It was some of the fakest fighting that I've ever seen in the middle of the brawl. Because they're going through that's all they've learned from the Japanese tapes that they have watched is they go through the motions. And they go from one place to another, and they don't have any passion or emotion or vehemence or or credibility or reality. At some point, you got to come back, get in the fucking ring. Or just end this shit. It just goes on and on. People, the idea for the concession stand brawl was to have a 3 or 4 minute wild ass fucking fight that would make people want to see the match. Now they have a 20-minute wild ass fight, and what are they going to do in a fucking match? Anyway, your thoughts.
2 baby faces beat up 4 heels. What do you think?
Well,
including a giant one and a big steroid one.
I mean, but a couple of those heels don't really mean anything. So so is it?
Well, that's the problem. They don't mean anything because the stable doesn't mean anything because the manager doesn't mean anything. And Don Callis' facial reactions in this whole segment told you what a clown he is. Omega and Ospreay both have something with those fans. Do something better. I thought this was fine for an opening angle and it got the fans worked up. It's going to be hard to follow it. And
it was.
In terms of using Omega while you have the Moxley shit at the top of the card killing the show. Again, these are the guys who AEW should be pushing right now that's on their roster, not Cope and Mox and everything else happening. That's what I think.
And I will agree that Don now is starting to skip around the stage like he's Paul Lynde on the Bewitched set. Just with...
Oh.
It's just...
Kenny. Oh. Ed Sullivan.
But anyway, now here was one fucking thing. Now that we've turned the page on that first angle, segment, whatever... I can't say I would have had this on Smoky Mountain Wrestling television or any other television I've ever produced because I wouldn't have had Private Party in this predicament, but had all things being equal, the World Tag Team title match with Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin with MVP, the Hurt Syndicate versus Private Party. I think we can make a case that the 2 best wrestlers in AEW right now are Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Because they're the only ones that go out and get over. Get more over from at the end than they are at the start. That they are more over now than they were when they started the company. That people, to the point where people are chanting their names when they're not doing anything. They're chanting Bobby when he's standing on the apron of the ring. They fucking, every time Shelton throws one of the baby faces across the arena, they fucking go wild. But Lashley spears everything they do. They're cheering now because they're the stars. They are actually wrestlers that can be taken as stars in the business instead of the wannabe pretend playing indie level fucking guys. But now they've got another situation where the most popular baby faces probably right now in the company are heels. And the 2 most popular baby faces otherwise are nattering at each other and then teaming up 5 minutes later. I'm sorry, am I dominating this conversation?
No, I mean, there's not much to say. I'm glad they put the tag belts on the Hurt Syndicate. I thought this is the way to go. I've been saying it for a few weeks. I thought this should have been more one-sided. It kind of was, but it went a while. It wasn't like Private Party was doing stuff to keep anyone down, but they stayed alive by just constantly doing stuff. But
well, and that's
you got to mix between the Legion of Doom and the Steiners.
Yeah.
in terms of the reactions they're going to get for throwing people around. And again, they're the most over thing that's been introduced to AEW's show in a year, right?
Easily.
At least.
And here's the thing, they can call their match, but they can't call their time. If whatever savant formats this program says, well, they got to go 15 minutes with these guys. So then the professionalism comes in where they were able to give Private Party enough hope spots, enough of the double team or enough of the kick to the head or the surprise duck and dodge or whatever, that it wasn't just chopping meat, as they used to say in the business, just beating the shit out of guys for 15 minutes where it just was boring. They kept it lively, but still all of Bobby and Shelton shit got over because it's impressive. And the people turned on, I don't know if we can say turned on them because they weren't really behind them to begin with, but it was just like, they didn't want Private Party to do anything. When the break spot was Lashley chokeslamming one of them through the announce desk, and the fans went fucking crazy. And they come back from the break, and for a while, that guy's still laying in the desk. And the one with the green hair, which one is Mark Quinn? Is green in more ways than one? Anyway.
I think so, yes.
One way or another, they were getting heat on him, and when Shelton was bouncing him off the rail and in the apron and the rail and the apron, he was about to chuck him back in, and the fans were like, one more time, one more time. So he bashed him into the railing again. They came apart. And then that's why I said they were chanting for Bobby when he was standing on the apron and cheered for him when he tagged in the ring and posed. And then the Private Party they got a tag, and the people popped for it initially and then were just dead quiet for the comeback. And the baby faces, if I can use that term, their comeback was kind of awkward, but the 450 splash got a pop, and Bobby Lashley saving got a pop. And then, at that point, they did some more big fucking things. And anytime, like Quinn made the save on the other guy after a spear, and the crowd booed the save by the babyface. So then Shelton hit the big Germans, and Bobby hit a choke slam, and Shelton hit a knee lift, and Bobby hit a spear, 1, 2, 3. The crowd counted with it like it was Austin after a stunner, and he got a big pop. So that, again, that's a match that gets you over. And that's why I say they're the two best wrestlers in AEW now, because they're actually having matches that get them over.
I also think it's smart for AEW to have them as tag team champions, because also WWE's gone in a direction with their tag teams where, by and large, they're smaller high flyers. There are War Raiders and stuff, but by and large, it's like a Young Bucks style division.
Yeah.
You've got these two guys, and I think to see them against a Young Bucks style team, you want to see them get thrown around, but there are other big teams for them. Them against FTR could be something. Them against Buddy and Brody. Again, now we're looking at two big guys against big guys. It's always those two against two little guys like the Young Bucks or something, to compare every small wrestler to the smallest wrestlers I can think of at the moment. It changes the look of your tag team division, not just as far as how you presented it, but it differentiates your tag team division from the other companies.
Yeah, because, it used to be when you would get a big Road Warrior type team over that they would draw the most money with a smaller bumping heel team like Tully and Arn, Midnight Express, whatever. But now the problem has become that you either have, the Road Warrior dominant size guys, but you don't have any guys in the middle. Everybody else 172 pounds.
That's why you should just have them go out there and destroy people. And just have them go out there week by week and make people look forward to the squash matches until they get big matches.
And then make them look forward to the big matches until they get bigger matches. That would be like promotion and shit.
LOD were presented like monsters. Steiners were too, but Steiners, that may be the best comparison just in terms of how they worked and how they could throw people around. And
yeah,
everyone knew they were that's the other thing. Do you still think in 2025, there's still value in the idea that, yeah, they're the number one promotion, but our tag team champions are the baddest tag team champions in all of wrestling? Like, is there still something to be said for having that? Like, if you had a world champion, if you knew, if your world champion wasn't a fucking clown, you could say, well, yeah, they got, whoever their world champion is, but our world champion
can beat your world champion. As long as he doesn't work at Home Depot. No, not directly, not a direct correlation, but it's not that in and of itself is not going to make any difference in anything. But the idea that these guys can get over like that they're not only good workers, but also that people know that they're legitimate and that they can do these. There's no special effects involved. That gets them over as attractions. And if you're smart enough to find a couple people they could draw some money with that wouldn't engage in falderall and bullshit to poke holes in that aura that they've created, and instead have a legitimate wrestling match, then that as an attraction will help you get over or help your company, help the business, whatever. Is that if he could actually find somebody else that people would say, whoa, I can't wait to see the Hurt Syndicate versus so-and-so. Now you've got something. But it's got to be somebody that, it would complement the Hurt Syndicate rather than, at some points here, Shelton's the one that has to stooge for Private Party's fucking convoluted double teams and acrobatics and everything. And you can't do too much stooging for other people's bullshit and maintain that aura. So it needs to be somebody that can fucking work and that is believable to physically compare with these guys. So who the fuck is that?
Well, I don't know who else there really is, Jim. And the other problem is, like I said, I mentioned FTR, and FTR are respectable size wrestlers. Brody King is a giant guy, and Buddy Matthews looks like he took every vitamin in the shed. But there aren't a lot of big wrestlers.
Well, but now, okay, but here also, here's your problem. FTR, the people nominally like that. They don't like them as much as they used to because they've been booked so badly and, and not really fucking done great public relations. But they're nominally, but the people would boo them against the Hurt Syndicate because they love these guys now.
Good.
And this,
honestly, instead of being tepid baby faces, maybe that's what FTR need.
Well, but then shouldn't they turn on somebody first? And then they need to turn on Edge.
Everyone else does.
Everybody else does. They turn on Edge and then boom, boom, boom. Or old Brody and Buddy, at least they're already heels. So that would, but they've been used as the flunkies and they're just starting to be rehabilitated. So they don't need to go into a fucking program with the Hurt Syndicate. It's going to beat the shit out of them.
Well, what I was trying to say is maybe some of the other wrestlers on the roster see the Hurt Syndicate and say, I'm at a great disadvantage. I need protein.
Well, that's true. Because protein will give you the advantage in most situations. And that's why that you need to go to our friends, folks, at Orgain, because they've got the protein market pretty much covered, because they have a 30-gram protein shake, chocolate flavored. It's like a delicious soda fountain chocolate milkshake. Do they have soda fountains anymore, Brian? I'm thinking about
someone
you.
Does. Do I have a soda fountain? No, I do not.
You have one in your own home or in your neighborhood there? Do you have the soda fountain where the kids congregate?
Yeah, the soda jerk gives us our milkshakes, yes.
I thought the soda jerk wasn't allowed to congregate around the kids. But, folks, if you don't have your own soda jerk or any kind of jerk around, you can jerk some Orgain, the 30-gram protein shakes, into your home, and it's fun for the whole family. Because now your kids need protein because you're sending them out there to school where they're going to encounter who knows what kind of illnesses and viruses and or bad habits they might take to eating out of vending machines. And then they're just consuming a lot of crap. They need some protein. They need some things that they'll think it's ice cream. If I just tell them it's melted chocolate ice cream. But the Orgain 30-gram chocolate protein shakes, again, mwah, deliciously good. And Brian, you know, I like to start my day with a big shot of protein. And I know you like to guzzle some protein down your gullet first thing in the morning, but these are good for all day long. Anytime you satisfy your cravings without any added sugar, because it's got the 30 grams of protein, but it has almost no sugar in it. They even say where the sugar, how much sugar is in it somewhere in this copy, but I can't find it. So I will just say they ain't got a lot of sugar in these drinks, but a lot of protein.
There is lots of protein and no sugar. Is there sugar? There's
very little, if any. They used to measure this, but you can read it on the side of the container, folks. And from protein powders to bars to shakes to tons of other nutritional products, Orgain has products that the whole family will love and use if you are an athlete or you care about what you put in your body, or you know, even what you put in your body can impact what comes out of your body. And boy, I'll tell you what, you can grease the wheels with Orgain. So remember, there's no quick fixes when it comes to your health. That means you need to drink as many of these every day as possible for a long period of time. Because if you want more protein, well, you can give Orgain's 30-gram protein shakes a try. But you know, Brian, again, the amount of protein let's say you drink 25, let's make it even, 25 shakes in the course of a day. Now, right there, that means that you have already got 750 grams of protein. I would think that would hold you for a day or so, wouldn't it?
That is too much, and I certainly do not recommend anyone drink that much, but for your normal protein intake, Orgain is there for you, and it's delicious.
There can't be too much of a good thing, can there?
There can be, and of course, we recommend the normal dosage, the normal usage, however much you would normally drink. Don't overdo it, but it's the best, and it's delicious, and I drink them, and I love them.
Well, I was just thinking that everybody loves them as much as I do and would want to drink several six-packs, but you can use however many you want in the course of a day to get all your protein and keep your body rock hard and supple and lithe and tanned and whimsical and all those other things. Go right now to Orgain. That's Orgain. Orgain.com/Jim and use the code Jim for 30%. 30% off your order. And they didn't tell me it's going to be 30% off. Holy mackerel, it's practically free. That's the most you're ever going to get off of this stuff, I'll tell you what. There must have been some mistake. I guess 1% for each gram of protein. 30% off your order at Orgain.com/Jim when you use the code Jim. That's a big discount, Brian.
That's a big discount, and it's a big, delicious taste, and it's a big amount of protein. As I said before, I personally drink it. You'll like it too. Orgain. One more time, what's that promo code?
Yes, Orgain.com/Jim. Use the promo code Jim. Whether you're on the go, traveling, or just going, it'll make you go. I'll tell you what. Orgain, that's the deal.
All right, back to the grappling.
Are you grappling with that organ still? You know, I'm telling you.
Orgain?
Your organ. My Orgain tastes better than your organ. I'll tell you that right now. Would you like me to tell you what happened next on AEW, Brian?
Yes, let's continue.
All right. Well, Tony Storm and your favorite Harley Cameron did a promo in the back, and they did a promo in Australian slang to be, novel and inventive, but because they've also both got Australian accents and they were rushing through this because they knew the shit. But would you, as an average person in the United States of America, did you understand much of anything of this?
To be honest with you, I had it on mute in the background. As much as I'm entertained by Harley Cameron,
she was throwing her voice.
She's a very talented, I'm telling you, she's really talented. She just needs a good act. But the big issue to me was they put up a graphic for Toni Storm versus Mariah May in Australia. They said it's going to be on TNT. They said it's going to be on Max, obviously live in Australia. No time. They never listed a time. I have no idea what time this airs. Is it live anywhere in America? Is it a live stream? Is it being taped? We have no answers to anything.
They're going to send out VHSs.
I don't know.
I can't believe you had this on mute. Because Harley was doing all that great ventriloquism. She was making her voice come out of her own mouth.
I didn't see her puppet.
So then they did a novel thing where they had Officer Bar Brady, our friend Alex Marvez, in the back with Jeff Jarrett. And before he even spoke, Karen came in and told Marvez, said, I need a minute to talk to Jeff. And so he bowed out, and then the camera shooting them for live national television zoomed in on their private chat. Did that seem odd to you?
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea, you leave, but the cameraman could stay. I don't know what that's about.
And then...
That's treating the audience dumb. You have to do it the whole way through, or you don't do it at all.
Well, then at least Marvez, as he usually is in the dark about what's going on, but everybody else knows. But she's telling him, Jeff, don't do, it's not who you are anymore. Don't do this. What the fuck's he going to go out and commit Harry Carey? Or even Harry Carey Jr.?
And by the way, what's not what he is anymore?
It's
the insult comic that he was last week? Like what?
When he was a heel, he used to double as the unknown comic with a bag over his head on the Gong Show. I don't understand.
What did she mean by don't beat Monty Brown? Don't drop the title? What is she saying exactly?
But Jeff cuts her off. He's like, I got this. And then he walks straight out to the ring. So to do an interview. So basically, when you think about it, Marvez was doing an interview with him to get his comments on the interview he was about to do. So then...
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. You're right. What was he interviewing him for?
So he could get the comments on the interview that he was about to do. And then he goes out, and Knoxville likes Jeff Jarrett. He's a Tennessee native, and that means a lot in East Tennessee. And he's been there with multiple companies over years and years. And he tries to start out with kind of a folksy anecdote that one of his mentors, the great Jerry the King Lawler, a thing that he told him once, he learned him a lesson. But the amusing antidote, as they say, didn't get over. Because he wound it up with, and Lawler said, don't ever get in the gutter with your opponent. And the people are like, It wasn't the most profound statement, or at least the way Jeff built it up. It wasn't the most profound statement. But then he said, but sometimes it's great to come back home to remember who you are. And that got a pop. Because go back again to Tennessee. If you just go out there and scream Tennessee over and over, they will cheer in Knoxville.
He's from nowhere near Knoxville. That'd be like me going to Albany and saying it's great to be home.
Well, no, because you New Yorkers, you have no sense of togetherness and family, familia.
Is that what it is?
See, people in Albany, they're like fucking green-headed Martians to you.
Well, you're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about the people in Albany.
And what you've said about the people of Poughkeepsie.
I've never said anything.
Private.
That's not me. God. That's you.
Well.
How dare you?
It may have been or may not have been. But then, so Jeff has, at least he's got people kind of interested in what he's saying. So I'm rooting for a strong close.
Well, let me ask you, at this point, did you have any idea where this was going?
No, but I was rooting for a strong close. And I was rooting for it to come fairly quickly. And he then made the statement, MJF, you're going to find out exactly who the last outlaw is. He fumbled last outlaw. And I was like, God damn it. So then he said,
he fumbled his own fucking name.
Fumbled his own fucking line. But then I thought that would be the go home line, right? But no. MJF, you're going to find out exactly who the last outlaw is. We're going to settle this somewhere. Like I say in Tennessee, I'm going to take you out behind the woodshed, but no lights, no cameras. I'm going to take you to the woodshed and beat your ass. Well, I can understand no lights, but apparently it's not going to be a cinematic match.
Has Jeff ever had a woodshed at any of the properties he's lived at his entire life?
You know, honestly, yes, I believe he has, because I think there was a shed that was full of wood at Jerry Jarrett's house up in Hendersonville. So
Lance Russell saw that woodshed and said, that's much bigger than my woodshed.
I took pictures of the goddamn fabulous ones naked to the waist in front of it. With fucking hats on with snakeskin headbands, baby. God damn it, they sold like crazy, too. But Howard's point is, how are they going to have this match if there's no camera? That's going to be hard to fucking... But then after he said that, he transitioned, Jeff being he, to his quest to become the AEW World Champion at age 57. And he said he wanted to call out the world champion Jon Moxley to talk. Okay, Moxley comes out every week and talks to people after he puts a plastic bag over their head or pours bleach down their throat or fucking...
That's right. I'm like Joan Rivers. Can we talk? Cody says, so what do you want to talk about? I just say, can we talk?
But in that, here, suddenly they play music, but Claudia, while Jeff is looking where... that the Boar Horseman and Dick the Boozer normally come from, the back of the arena through the people, Claudio just comes in behind him in the ring and turns him around and hits him with one uppercut. And Jeff goes down and is there immobile. And Claudio says, nobody gets to Moxley without going through me first. Stay out of our business, and starts walking out. And Jeff, again, from the one forearm, after we see people run over with goddamn motor vehicles on this program. Jeff's got the microphone. He's still down, but he's in the ring. Claudio, turn your ass around. You'll have to kill me to stop me. Apparently, that'll be 3 forearms. But if I beat your ass next week, then I get my title shot. And Claudio says, okay, I'll see you next week. And apparently we're going to see that next week.
We'll see who sees it. That may be the lowest rated segment in the history of Dynamite. We'll see. That's going to be a problem, that segment.
It didn't look like Claudio wanted to watch it. But I don't know what's happening here with this. And then there's more from MJF here in a minute or two, but
let's finish this. I guess it ties together, though. It appears they are being separated, although they will have a match at some point, whether it's in a shed or in a ring, shall be determined at a later time.
They've made some closing remarks without closing the issue and left it dangling.
I was always critical of Jeff coming to AEW and his usage in AEW, everything. But I said I thought that the idea he has one more year left, there could be some interesting things done there. Sadly, it appears to have exposed I mean, I don't know. If you were going to do something big with Jeff Jarrett, you would never say, you know, now's the time to give him more promo time than he's ever had ever. And it really hasn't exposed his strengths. I mean, none of his strengths have been shown for the last month or so. And now we're going to get him and the Boar Horseman. Him and Claudio has a chance to be, well, we'll see. We'll see what the ratings are. It could surprise me. But, oh boy. But yeah, I think, and he couldn't even get his fucking nickname out. He screwed up his own name in his home state of all places.
Well, now, wait a minute. That's not the one he's had all the practice spelling.
The last outlaw, whatever he said. The last la.
That used to be what Bobby Eaton did. Lavaloo. Is somebody, the baby face would have him in a headlock. I'd be close enough leaning in. I'd hear him go, Lavaloo.
What do you think of the idea? I mean, again, last week's MJF Jeff Jarrett segment, it wasn't just us. That was not universally, well, there weren't too many people that seemed to come out and say they really loved it. And everyone went the other way. And it appears that, is AEW shifting gears? Is that what this is?
Well, it's certainly leaving it open to not happen. You know, they both talked about each other, but at the same time, they both apparently have other things going on. Maybe they're going to come back to this match when the people demand it. You think Jeff has enough time left in his career?
It'll be interesting, but that's the tease for next week. Jeff and Claudio. Oh boy.
We were almost to the 9 o'clock hour, but we got Swerve Strickland versus AR Fox. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll fast forward through this and see what they're going to do at the 9 o'clock hour. At the 9 o'clock hour, Swerve was still beating up Mr. Fox, but Ricochet came out and jumped up on the apron of the ring and went to stab Swerve in the head with the golden scissors. Golden scissors. That was that Beatles tune that really didn't get enough attention in.
That was Golden Slumbers. They were different scissors than last time, much smaller than the...
Well, I was about to say somebody forgot to bring the big golden gardening shears, because these were like golden fucking cuticle scissors. They were half the size.
Did he buy a set?
Apparently, you know, he's investing in gold.
Next week it'll be a golden spoon and then a golden fork.
I want to see the golden nail file. I think that's going to be the one. But he goes to stab Swerve, and Swerve ducks, and then Nana comes around with a lead pipe and backs Ricochet off of the ring, and they go through the entranceway, and they're gone. And then Swerve beat AR Fox with his thing, and then helped the guy up after they've been kicking the shit out of each other for 15 minutes. And then suddenly Ricochet is on the screen. And there's a close-up of him cutting a promo. And calm and staring straight into the camera. And he makes the point he's got a lot to say next week about the way, he doesn't go into why he doesn't just say it now if he's got a lot, but he's got a lot to say next week. And the camera widens out and Ricochet is holding the point of these scissors to Nana's throat, and Nana is comically on his tiptoes with his head cocked back up against the wall, scared, looking like Stepin Fetchit in a fucking 30s Charlie Chan movie. And the thing is, when they opened the shot on the close-up on Ricochet and he was staring into the camera, you've got a knife to a man's throat and you turn your goddamn head. What is the guy with the knife to his throat going to do? Grab the goddamn knife. But no.
Ricochet's known for his strength.
He wasn't touching him.
I'm saying he wouldn't be able to wrestle the knife away from him. He's so strong.
He could knock the knife away from his neck and run. Couldn't he?
Nana's from Queens. I'm sure he's dealt with this plenty of times.
One would think. Just going to the local fucking McDonald's. Guess what the fans did?
What's that?
Nothing. They didn't care.
I'll say it here. I know he has a promo later. I don't know if you're going to talk about it or not. I'm completely sick of Swerve Strickland in every way.
We're over the Swerve.
Oh my God. And Nana, I hate to say because he's a very nice guy.
I know I like Nana personally, but
I'm sick of
they've
both of
given
them.
me no reason to root for anything Nana's involved in because he's a scared, feckless, incompetent manager that gets in the way more than he tries to help, and that's by their instruction.
Yeah, I'm completely sick of both of them. So I'm rooting for Ricochet to stab them.
Stab, yes.
That's the other side of it.
Please.
Yeah, you root for the babyface and you root for the stabbing. That's. I hope he gets him with the smaller scissors, though, because I feel like there'll be less jail time. Because the large ones, it's like clearly you're trying to kill him. The small ones, I saw a loose thread. Yeah.
It was a flesh wound. Just a flesh wound. It wouldn't go all the way to the artery.
Hey, one last thing on this whole thing. Where the fuck is AR Fox been? Remember he was a part of the whole thing? He helped break into Nick Wayne's house with Swerve back in the day?
That's right.
Yeah, he was a part of the whole thing. And then somehow he turned back babyface and he apologized. And then I don't know what happened, but here he is after all this time.
And he's wrestling Swerve for 15 minutes, and then Swerve helps him up. Okay.
Whose house?
Apparently not Swerve's anymore. I believe he was asked to leave.
Oh, see, I thought I was going to say whose house. I thought you'd go, well, half a house.
Well, then why didn't you feed me that somehow?
A third of a house.
I knew what I was talking about.
A third of a house.
They say, yeah, it was maybe 32%. All right. Knoxville Civic Coliseum, by the way, depending on the wrestling setup, can be from 5,000 to, if you had no curtain anywhere and opened every seat in the house, Southeast and put in the risers, Southeastern got 6,500 in there. I don't think that's ever been done again for a wrestling setup. Nevertheless, then guess who came out? Oh, there was a job guy in the ring, but we came back from a break and boom, MJF music. And now, explain this to me, Brian. We're down to with some of these guys, and poor MJF is amongst them, where the music gets a pop from the people, but when they see the actual person, they don't cheer. What did they think? There's a guy in the ring, they were going to see MJF wrestle, and he came out in street clothes and obviously not going to wrestle, and they felt deflated, or what? But it's like they'll pop on music, but they won't pop onto people. Why are they not popping onto people, Jerry?
I think because of some of the people MJF has worked with and some of the segments they've done together, people need to see something from MJF maybe right now. They need to see something different with someone different, and they certainly weren't positively reacting to the Jeff Jarrett stuff. So I think in a lot of ways, maybe this was a hold your breath and see what is this, because we just saw Jeff and Claudio do their angle.
Well, and what is this was MJF told the job guy to leave the ring, and to Jeff Jarrett, you ought to give every fan here an apology. But I deserve an apology more than anybody, because of what you did last week. I made you the offer, and then he reiterated the offer was, hey, Jeff, I'll help you win the deal, the title shot, and then you win the title, and then blah, 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 and then you give me a title shot. He made you, Jeff, the offer because he thought that Jeff would be the easiest one to beat. And that went a while, and I don't think the people really cared about hearing it. But finally, he said, pro wrestling doesn't love you anymore. These fans don't love you, which sparked a few medium Double J chants. And sometimes you're better off making a deal with the devil than defying him. MJF has gotten in the category of trying too hard at this point to make up for everything that's been done to him. But he's obviously, now remember, early on, MJF was the smooth, the the roaster, the unflappable, I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you know it. And remember, I said every once in a while when he would get too mad, that somebody get too far under his skin, that wasn't good for him. He needed to be able to still keep his goddamn. Well, now he's having temper tantrums and losing his shit and blurting out things that he allegedly doesn't want to blurt out. He's into these things more than anybody in the crowd is. He's either madder or he's more invested in this. It just looks awkward. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
You think he should be riling everyone up, not the one to get riled up?
Somewhat. And I think that trying so hard to get people into this rotten material or situations that he's been forced to work with, I'm not saying it's too much. He's cried wolf. He ain't been the devil in a long time. And with most of the people he's talking to or about or wanting to fuck with, the people don't particularly care whether the devil fucking goes down to Georgia on them or not.
Is he the devil again? Or was Adam Cole the devil?
Well, he's doing the devil horns, and he said sometimes you're better off making a deal with the devil than defying him to Jeff. So now he's the devil. He's the devil. He did it. He's the devil again. The devil made him do it. But it's not done. Because when he said that, then music played, and here came Hangnail Adam Page. It was his match. The announcer, well, it was his match that we thought we were going to see when MJF came out. Then why the fuck did he wait 10 minutes to come out till MJF had said all that shit? And Page got up in MJF's face and is telling him, get out of here, leave, get out of my area here or whatever. And the fans at least were chanting, but they were chanting cowboy shit. Isn't that what they wanted them to do 4 years ago? The people in Knoxville may have not been paying close attention. Does he still do the cowboy shit? I thought he was a heel. What is he? Who is he? Let me clarify this. What the fuck is going on?
There will be no clarity. If he's feuding with MJF, or, I mean, I don't know if that's what this is. If they're having issues, he's a babyface. Maybe it's like Sergeant Slaughter as a heel bumping into heel Iron Sheik in the aisleway. And then all of a sudden, Sergeant Slaughter's a babyface. Maybe it's something like that. And I will say, I hadn't even thought of it as an option until this show. Adam Page versus MJF. It's something they haven't done that could be interesting.
Well, does Page start sandbagging and sabotaging MJF like he did Punk when he got a chance to do something on top?
Maybe. We can't rule that out, obviously. Well, it's on his track record, but...
Jesus Christ, then.
But in terms
That's all MJF needs.
But in terms of... You're talking about what MJF needs. What he doesn't need is Adam Cole. What he doesn't need, as it turns out, is Jeff Jarrett. What he doesn't need is anyone else he has already been married to at some point in the last 5 years. Now, he's done little things with Adam Page, going back to the very beginning, but those two guys have been there since the beginning. They're steadies on that show. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not the biggest Hangman Page fan. Whenever you want to invest in him, he delivers a soft promo. But I'll take this over. There aren't too many other things right now with anyone who's not already just doing something. Although if AEW dropped the Jarrett thing, maybe they'll drop the Moxley thing or something else. But I'm okay with seeing where this is for at least a little while.
Well, at least now we have another clue here, though, because Page is still out there, so he beat the job guy in 30 seconds. And then, as any true upcoming babyface, kept beating on him after the match and gave him a big face plant fucking move, Chris Daniels' move. And then music played, and Chris Daniels came out in a neck brace.
Right, now he's a heel again.
Because apparently... whatever they've been doing on Collision or Rampage or whatever, they had a Texas death match and Page fucked Daniels up and Daniels will, but Daniels, it comes out and says, all I ever wanted to do was be your friend, but I messed that up. So wait a minute, this guy has dropped you on your head and retired you, so you're going to come out and apologize to him. You attacked me and said what you said, and I let my ego and insecurities escalate it after you attacked me to a point where I accepted the most violent match against the most violent man, and I regret that. And I wrote, what the fuck? Now another babyface is apologizing to some guy that's fucking...
And I regret that.
So, yeah, I said I regret it. So after the Texas death match, the doctor told Daniels to never wrestle again. So, Adam, you win. This is goodbye. I'm sorry, and I hope you can be happy. And he walks off and leaves Paige standing there. And Paige is just mute, just silent. So are the fans, by the way. But so is this the first time in history that somebody will be shamed into becoming a babyface again? He was shaming him into becoming a babyface?
What babyface has received more shame, even if it's self-shame, than Adam Page in the history of AEW in kayfabe? That's his whole gimmick. He's drinking because of shame. Everything's because of something.
All righty. Well, we know one thing that Mercedes Moné can do now properly. She can walk when you cue her. Did you see when they cut to her backstage and she's standing there and then suddenly they cued her to walk and she started walking? And not many people can just nail that the first time. So she's got 4 belts now. You can't see her for the belt. She's got some English indie girls belt. She got the Japanese belt. She got the fucking AEW belt, whatever. And then here came Harley Cameron in again. They're going to shoehorn her into anything just to get you to talk about them. And she sang a challenge to Mercedes while playing a guitar. And I thought, have you ever watched, remember America's Got Talent? You know, where they did the audition show where they showed you the people that sucked that couldn't get on. Help me.
Of course. I know what this is. Of course. Everyone knows what that is.
Well, the whole, I'm not even talking about just the song. I mean, the whole segment. Mercedes' stilted delivery and the fact that she didn't even have a microphone, a boom mic properly on her when she started talking until Renee Moxley Good walked in with a real microphone. And then here comes this girl out of nowhere singing a challenge while accompanying herself on the guitar.
Renee's kind of grooving to it.
So
I told you, Harley Cameron's really talented. Get her away from wrestling. She needs a good manager. Come on, one of you guys in Hollywood.
She needs a subway and a hat to turn upside down to catch the loose change.
If she picked the right station, she can get discovered.
So you're saying that Harley Cameron could make a lot of cash in the subway if she worked it right?
With her act, yes. I don't know where your dirty mind is going.
What do you call that, an act? I'd say it's pretty natural. But anyway, then Jamie Hayter wrestled Jimmy Hart. Oh, I'm sorry, my shorthand. That's Julia Hart. What did you think of that match, Brian?
Jamie Hayter used to look like such a badass and look cool. Now she looks like, if you said to AI, make me a wrestler named Velvet McIntyre, that's what would pop up. She was like Ronald McDonald's assistant. Like, what is
only if Velvet had carnal knowledge of Ronald McDonald?
What is? I don't know. It's not an appealing gimmick change. Is it a gimmick change if you just change your look? I don't even know. I don't know. That's all I kept thinking.
All right. Well, in the back, Swerve was screaming about being the most dangerous man in AEW. Now, I get Paige was the most violent man, but you can be violent without being dangerous, I guess. But how dangerous is goddamn Swerve? His manager has been kidnapped, abducted, abused, anal probed. Swerve himself has been beaten, left laying, lost his belt. Bobby Lashley punked him out. Uh, Nana is standing back there verklempt while Swerve is screaming about what he's going to do, but he never does anything. Is this why we're over Swerve?
Again, he is the most violent, dastardly man in AEW, and you think about, yeah, well, he kidnapped. Well, he didn't kidnap the kid. He just went and terrorized the kid on camera.
Yeah.
And
besides that, the kid was under 12 months old, so you can't really terrorize. He don't know what's going on.
Well,
It could be Uncle Swerve making faces.
He also broke into Nick Wayne's wrestling complex and beat the shit out of him. But on the other hand, he's also had his house burned down. And someone else drank his blood. And there's been all sorts of things. He had one of his dreadlocks ripped out. He had his grill taken.
That's right.
But you don't want to mess with him.
Well, I tell you what, when you pull somebody's teeth out and they don't do anything about it. So then there was a message from the remaining members of the House of Blech. Brody and Buddy and Julia, they have apparently replaced Malachi Black with a dog. Did you see that? What?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can consider it a replacement. I hadn't thought of it that way. There was a dog in the video.
Yes, they're in the tunnel in the darkened area where they live in the darkness and the black. And there's Buddy and there's Brody and there's Julia and there's a dog. So there's no Malachi. One can assume Malachi out, dog in. Is the dog a better worker or a better talker than Malachi?
Let me ask you this. With everyone assuming he's going back to WWE, and that's probably a fair assumption, why would you want him? Have you seen anything from him that makes you think you want more? You just haven't seen enough. You need more of him every week. No. You need to see him.
And if any of these were his ideas, we don't want to let him loose where he can speak. Pitch things. That would be bad. But there's going to be no rules, no leaders, no gods, and no masters, just violence from the whatever this group is now. And if they're going to be in the violence business, I believe they need to talk to fucking Hangnail Adam Page, because isn't he the most violent guy?
Well, there's a lot of ways to look at it. You could talk to Hangman Adam Page. You could talk to the Hurt Syndicate, who were in the Hurt business for a long time.
Because then you can't hurt people without being violent.
Or you could talk to our friends at Shopify about a way to set up your store, House of Black, or whoever you may be now. House of 2 people, a woman, and a dog?
2 people and a woman and a dog. Well, folks, I'll tell you, the best time for me might be to start a new business right now. Possibly diversify. Have something to fall back on in case this goes to shit. Folks, whatever your idea or your product or your brand or whatever you want to do, Shopify can help you do it, because the best time to start your new business is right now. You might have been thinking about this. It might have been a New Year's resolution, or maybe you've been thinking about it when you went to sleep or when you woke up. Or you're thinking about it when you're at the grocery store, when you're watching your favorite TV show, when you're on the treadmill at the gym, when you're making sweet love to your better half. You're thinking about, I could be in business right now. And you know what? Shopify can take you right out of the saddle of your spouse and into the saddle of being the CEO of your own operation, where you will hear sounds like that all the time, because you're going to make some money. Shopify makes it simple to create your brand, open for business, and get your first sale. You can get your store up and running. They're on the worldwide interwebs with thousands of customizable templates, no coding or design skills required. You do not need to design anything. They will design everything. They control the horizontal and the vertical. They control all you see and hear, and they control the ability to make people send you money. And their powerful social media tools let you connect all your channels together to create chaos and shoppable posts to help you sell everywhere that people scroll by. Let's say they're scrolling on what time to pick up their kid from school. Boom! a thing pops up and it says buy from Sam or else. And to get control of their telephone screen again, they have to buy something from
What the
you.
hell are you talking about? None of this is the way. Stop ringing that thing. None of this is the way this happens.
Well, they make it easy to manage your
Sam.
growing business. They help with details like shipping, taxes, payments, all from one single dashboard. They're parked 3 doors down to make sure nobody knows they're at your house. And they've got all the documents and all the money and everything on the dashboard. And you go in, everything's right out in front of you. It's all above board, above the dashboard. And you get money. Every week they'll meet you 3 doors down from your house and hand you an envelope.
No one's going to meet you. No one's going to meet you and hand you anything.
Well, that allows you to focus on the important stuff like growing your business. But what happens if you don't act now? Well, that guy 3 doors down from you is not going to have money for you. He's going to have a message from the, well, you know who. You're going to regret it if somebody beats you to the idea that you had, and you're going to kick yourself if you didn't go to Shopify to help make that a reality and make your money. Because you can establish a new business in 2025 that will prosper for many years from now, especially after they get you out of the equation. So right now, you can sign up for a $1 a month trial period at shopify.com/JCE. That's all lowercase on that now. Whoa, become the person who makes those capitals. And it's $1 a month trial period. So how little do you want to pay for a chance at greatness? They will show you what they can do for $1 a month. All you got to do is do that they do. Go to shopify.com/JCE to start selling with Shopify today.
That's right. And I want to compliment you on a pretty good job there, although there were several inaccuracies, and we'll have our fact checkers go through this shortly.
Well, I can only work off the copy that they give me, and you know, maybe it's 4 doors down. It depends on your neighborhood.
Don't go any doors down, and it's not what they give you. It's what you're going to give to your customers with their help, and that's our friends at Shopify.
Well, you're not giving nothing to these people. They're the suckers, the rubes.
No, there are no rubes. There are plenty of marks. There are no rubes in this situation, Jim.
You're giving them nothing. You're selling them stuff.
Jim, one more time, what's that promo code for the listeners to make money with their goods?
Shopify.com/JCE to start your new business today and market your grand idea to the entire world who are waiting to give you.
All right, we'll get some of that, and let's get the rest of Dynamite.
Come get some. I wish you could come get some of the rest of Dynamite because I've had enough. Edge and Pac was the main event. There was a nice hand for Edge when he came out because they know who he is. He's been somewhere. Pac came through the crowd, and I don't know if anybody noticed. Except they probably thought, why is that guy coming back from the concession stand with no shirt on? But then he got in the ring, and I noticed that it was 9:44 p.m. Eastern time. That means even without an overrun, they had 16 minutes to go. So I fucking zipped ahead till after their break. And they were Pac was getting some heat on Edge. And I started watching it and I zoned out on it. They were being very careful not to rush. Let's put it that way. You know, it's always one of these things. It's always too hot or too cold. It's never just right. But I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch the whole thing. I think Edge is a pro. He's got plenty of experience, but he made a comeback. He milked the spear. Pac wouldn't get up and Edge wouldn't go to him because he couldn't spear him in the fucking back. Finally, Pac got up and Edge went to him and Pac leapfrogged the spear and they went right into another spot. It just... Pac, to me, has timing issues, especially when he spends 15 minutes on the top rope, but I don't know what's going on. At one point, Pac got a submission hold on Edge while he was on Edge's back. Edge was fully supporting his weight. I'm thinking, fall straight back. Just fall straight back. The fans, I thought, were zoned out. And Pac
What gave that away? Was it the dead silence?
Well, that was the first clue I had. And then when I saw the ushers holding mirrors in front of the front row people's mouths to check and see if they were breathing.
So the ghost of Beulah in the front row.
This was bad enough for Beulah to come back to life to hoot at him. Pac kept kicking Edge in the back of the head because Edge wouldn't move. He got kicked in the back of the head and he just slumped and he just stayed there and did not move to be kicked in the back of the head again. Then the Joe Schmo show started, or the Joe Schmo start showed. I wonder if the ratings will be better for Joe Schmo than they were for AEW.
So what do you think of the fact that Moxley choked out? I mean, we always say that you feel like he's always beat down. Did you even bring up the FTR Rock and Roll Express thing here?
Well, hold on, I ain't there yet. I say the Joe Schmo show. The Joe Schmo show started, but it was still the wrestling. That was the overrun.
I thought you were saying just all of a sudden your version went right to the actual show.
No, because it's the DVR stops. You got to go to the Joe Schmo show on DVR to continue watching this thing, and they go 1 minute past the hour, and then Edge hits the cutter on Pac 1, 2, 3. And they start playing Edge's music, and suddenly Moxley is on the screen again. And as Edge looks, there's Claudio and Marina Schaefer, and I think old Wheelie Useless, he was in there too, but they have these three people and one woman have Cash Wheeler and Dax Hardwood tied to chairs, duct taped to chairs with their mouths duct taped. Dax is over on his side in the chair. Cash is trying to wiggle. And the Rock and Roll Express are on the floor. Remember, they got kidnapped and duct taped to a cage a couple weeks ago. Now, they were on the floor, but you couldn't tell who it was because Ricky's face down with his face turned away from the camera on a chair so they can concerto him in a second. And Robert, I think he was turning his face out of shame. And the announcers, which if you're listening to them, you might have heard past all of the, and the Dick the Boozer and his screaming minions. That's the Rock and Roll Express. They're doing publicity. But no, now they're down on the goddamn ground and they hit Ricky Morton with the fake chair shot that resounds by hitting the floor because his brains would explode if they really did that. And there's no way for him to sell it. And then they walk off and leave the two guys tied to the chair and the Rock and Roll Express face down on the floor and walk into the arena where Edge is alone. And they surround the ring. So you mean to tell me that Edge is one of the biggest stars in this company? And the only 4 people out of this giant roster and everybody that we've seen tonight that would even think about coming out to help him was FTR and 2 guys in their mid to late 60s. To begin with, what the fuck? And then they all jump Edge and there's mild booing and they get weak heat. And then here comes Jay White with music and it's Jay White. And people are like, eh? And I think, didn't he beat up 1 or 2 in the aisleway and then he got in the ring and they stopped him and the fans were indifferent to that? And then Moxley got the choke on Edge and they were holding Jay White down immobile. And so nobody in the ring was moving. And this was the heat they were getting, where they're holding one guy and not moving themselves, and the other guy's choking the other guy, and neither one of them are moving. And then the heels got up and left after they'd finished fucking choking these fucking goofballs out.
The fans weren't moving either.
Whew. I don't know what to tell you. That was that.
I mean, there's so much to say. First of all, if you're going to do this kind of stupid shit with the Rock and Roll Express, wouldn't you establish on this show that they are there?
Could maybe they have done the backstage interview instead of Jeff Jarrett doing the backstage interview about the interview he was about to go out to the ring and do live?
Harley Cameron got 2 segments.
Well, she's got 2 of a lot of things, and it's not fair.
Well, she got 2 segments. They got kidnapped.
Yeah,
You know, Edge and Dax and Cash are kind of the same in terms of baby faces that have been beat down or just made to look foolish so often that they're not effective baby faces anymore. Dax and Cash were tied to Dax was turned over on the chair. Cash at least had the dignity to be sitting up straight.
Well, no, that means that Dax was putting up more of a struggle. How did they get him in that position? What did they propofol him? That's what
how'd they get all 4? Was it 1 by 1 or did they do it all at one time? It's ridiculous.
They must have been hanging out behind, Ricky Morton knows exactly where that one room all the way at the end of the bowels of the Coliseum is where you could entertain the female company. I bet they staked out that door and caught them all as they were coming out.
I remember that room. That was the one that had the sign that said no Andrea.
Hey, come on.
Was that a different room? I don't know.
That was a different room.
The point is, this does nothing for the baby faces. The fans aren't reacting to anything that heel Moxley does. You began this show with what was a hot series of events for AEW. May not have all made sense, but it doesn't matter. The fans were into it. People were jumping all over the place. They were over. The fans reacted to Kenny. The fans reacted to Ospreay. Fans didn't react to Pac. Fans didn't react to Edge. Fans certainly aren't reacting.
They cheered him when he came out. They just didn't.
And then they went to sleep. And then they went to sleep because no one wants to see him wrestle. And they certainly didn't react to Moxley. And you said Edge is a star. He was part of the star machine. I have not seen anything since he has returned, especially to AEW since he has entered AEW. He doesn't feel like a star. Whatever he may have been a long time ago, he just seems like a babyface with bad instincts.
Well, now, to be fair, every star that's come to AEW doesn't seem like a star anymore. Just to be fair.
And I think Lashley and Shelton, we said it before, they're super over, and you don't hear any complaints about the fact that they're not young guys. But with Jeff Jarrett, and especially Edge, who's younger than Jeff Jarrett, these guys look so old. It's like a different energy. It's not the right, nothing's giving off the right energy right now. The opening of the show kind of did, and the Hurt Business did. Hurt Syndicate.
I'm trying to think, because I can't remember exactly, and I don't want to give wrong figures, but somebody ought to add up the combined age of Edge and flummox. What's his name? Well, you just said
Jarrett,
Edge, and Jeff. Yes, thank you.
And Christian. Throw Christian on it. He's the number 1 contender.
No, hold there. With the comparison I was going to make. And Jeff looks pretty daggum good, especially his arms for 57. But
he looks old.
Add up Edge and Jeff Jarrett's age, and then add up Shelton and Lashley's age. And I bet it wouldn't be that fucking strikingly different. And goddamn, those 2 guys look like they could kick the shit out of everybody in the company.
I mean, Shelton, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying, not to your point, just in terms of how he looks in terms of age. But Bobby Lashley, it's kind of remarkable how much he has not aged facially or in any way. In 25 years.
Hell, there you go.
But that's the state of AEW. They got things right now that the fans are really into, or at least the fans are into, and there's stuff that silences the fans and kills the crowd. And the Moxley stuff, I mean, the most difficult conversation is going to be if Tony gets to the point where he doesn't let it play out the way Moxley wants it to. But at this point, how could you?
how close to the end of this thing you think we are in Moxley's head?
I think
I'd
it's going for a while.
Oh
We have
God,
to
I'd
wait. We
love
probably
the
have to wait
idea.
at least until Darby gets off Mount Everest.
Well, that ain't gonna happen.
We have to wait at least until Orange Cassidy
Maybe
returns.
maybe they can get a Darby plaque to put up in memory of Darby, who's still somewhere on Mount Everest.
See, that's the thing, I hate the Moxley stuff, but Edge went along with it here. Why is Edge letting Edge doesn't realize right now the last thing he needs as an on-air character is to once again be laid out, especially just choked out to the point where you're dead, and they just leave while the fans sit there in silence. What the fuck?
And it's already been established now that the only tenuous friend you might have that's not able to be kidnapped and tied to anything that's handy is fucking Jay White, and he was no help whatsoever. Everybody else just, fuck him. I got to beat the traffic.
And again, FTR, they never are presented as strong baby faces. They're always presented as secondary characters who get kidnapped or attacked. And that doesn't help anyone. But that was AEW Dynamite. Jim, we have the ratings.
I was about to ask if anybody watched this thing.
AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. 8 to 10:06 p.m. On average, according to WrestleNomics, 655,000 viewers.
Oh, they're still over 600,000. They made a big comeback from last month or whatever. But
down 4% from last week, which was 679, up 7% from the trailing 4 weeks, which was 614.
But now here, I'm wondering, they're on Max now. So apparently, not only did nobody migrate over to watching on Max, but some people that have come back to watching here instead of going to Max that weren't watching last month. So what are we hearing about Max? What about Max? Not Friedman, but the streaming, Max streaming.
We're not hearing too much, and I think if the numbers were extraordinary, they would probably be talked about a little more. But again, that's the thing. It's a different situation than Netflix. Netflix is the only option. Max is just an option.
Yeah, maybe the thing is the threat of AEW on streaming has run people back to cable.
No, they figured out a good way to get people to Max. They announced that Australia show and they had no time. So now you just have to go there all day and just wait and hope. See what happens.
Wishing and hoping. All right, quarter one. Where'd we start out here?
Let's go to the quarterly breakdown. Quarter one, these were compiled by WrestleNomics, 8 to 8:15 p.m. The Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, Don Callis live angle, 832,000 viewers.
Okay, I'm seeing a cliff coming with their average and that strong of a start.
That's a good name for a jobber, Cliff Cumming.
Cliff Coming.
Quarter two, 8:15, 8:30 p.m.
If only I'd have thought of that when I had Cliff Compton down here.
The Death Riders promo and Private Party versus the Hurt Syndicate with picture-in-picture ads. 695,000 viewers.
Okay, so was the Big Bang Theory is still the lead-in? But 137,000 people said, oh my God, we made a drastic mistake in the first 15 minutes. All right.
Well, again, I think just in general, the second quarter, as always, is the true number that they're starting with. But we go to quarter three, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. Continuation of Party versus Syndicate, the Mariah May video, the Tony Storm Harley Cameron backstage angle, an ad break, the Jeff Jarrett Karen Jarrett backstage angle, and the Jeff Jarrett live promo. What a quarter. 643,000 viewers.
Oh, good God. Okay, there went another 52,000. So we are now down 179,000 people in the first 45 minutes. Tell me more.
8:45 to 9 p.m., quarter four. Claudio Castagnoli confronting Jeff Jarrett. An ad break. The Megan Bain video. And the start of AR Fox versus Swerve Strickland with picture-in-picture.
MR Ducks. Every time I hear AR, I think MR Ducks.
601,000 viewers.
All right, well, we've lost 231,000 people in 1 hour. That's 25% of what they started, more than 25% of what they started with. And we're at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, and now I'm thinking they have to pick something up somewhere to be able to meet their average by the end of this thing, don't they?
Well, we'll find out what happens here in the second hour. The big 9 o'clock hour, 9 to 9:15 p.m., quarter 5.
Here comes the Golden Scissors.
The continuation of Fox versus Swerve. The post-match with Ricochet and Prince Nana and Small Scissors. The Learning Tree backstage promo. The MJF Live promo. Adam Page versus Tyler Shoop.
Tyler Shoop? Shoop? Shoop?
And the Adam Page Christopher Daniels ramp angle. 646,000 Shoops.
Well, they brought in 45,000 extra Shoops at the top of the hour. Why didn't they put Tyler Shoop on TV before? He's the only one that's been able to bring the numbers up.
Well, they may have to put more of him on the show next week. We'll find out. We go now to quarter 6, 9:15 and 9:30 p.m. We start with an ad break. The Mercedes Moné Harley Cameron backstage angle. And the start of Jamie Hayter versus Julia Hart with picture-in-picture. 637,000 viewers.
Well, that ain't bad. That's 7. Hold on. 4. Wait, 6. 9,000. 9,000 difference.
All right, you found the number?
I found the number. See, it was one of the ones that they hide every once in a while.
We go to quarter 7, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. The continuation of Hart versus Hayter. The post-match. An icicle just fell down outside. An ad break. Swerve Strickland's backstage promo. Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Julia Hart's video. And the start of Cope versus Pac. 618,000 viewers.
Good Lord. Edge lost people. Lost 19,000 of them. Holy crap.
If you were an Edge fan and you wanted to see him come back, you've seen anything you wanted to see by now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. The way
Do you think they could have a special match with Swerve against the insurance adjuster that denied the claim on his house being burned down?
Well, we'll see what Tony could book next time they go to Washington or something. But, Jim, we go now to quarter 8, and I remind you we have an overrun. 9:45 to 10 p.m. Cope versus Pac continued.
Every bit of it.
With picture-in-picture. 590,000 viewers. 6-minute overrun. More Cope versus Pac. The Death Riders, FTR, The Rock and Roll, and Jay White. 592,000 viewers.
2,000 people showed up for Joe Schmo. Well, on the bright side, 590 and 592 is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And on the dim side, they started with 832. They finished with 592. That's 240,000 people. Or what percentage, Brian, is 240,000 of 832,000?
Oh, fuck you. Hold on.
Well, it's somewhere right a little less than a third. They lost 30% of their audience.
All right. Well,
I hear the clicking.
Well, no, apparently the window I had open with the calculator closed. I don't know what happened.
Well.
What the fuck?
No wonder you're hearing all these noises in the background if you've got your window open.
Well, that's not what I meant, but that was once again AEW Dynamite. And Jim, perhaps when watching AEW Dynamite and watching some of the amazing action, maybe you just want to get up and work out, listen to something else. Maybe you just want to go to the other room and cook something and listen to something else. Maybe you just want to listen to something else with the finest earbuds, our pals at Raycom.
How many things do you want to do? As a matter of when I have to watch AEW, I'm pretty much defeated at the end of it. I don't want to do anything but just go lay down and try to rest my weary mind. Maybe that's what you need to do with your Raycon earbuds after you have managed to absorb all of the oral and visual effluvia that you can possibly contain from the AEW television program. You want to lay down in your bed on your nice soft mattress. We can fix you up with those type of things too. And you want to stick the Raycon everyday earbuds in your ears and set it on some peaceful music. Or maybe just have yourself recorded over and over saying, I will not watch AEW. I will not watch AEW. And just play that as a way to lull yourself into sleep and give yourself a positive self-suggestion for how to improve your life. That's what you're going for, right, Brian?
That is right. Well, what is right? Raycon is right, and of course it's right for you and right for your ears, no matter what the size. You can put them in comfortably, listen to the finest sounds, get them out comfortably, and return to normal sounds.
Comfortably and return to your normal viewing position. You can stick these things in your ear, and if you hang upside down for about 10 minutes, then when you go right side up, you'll get a head rush that will make all this music actually psychedelic, and you'll be able to see colors. But the Raycon everyday earbuds are more than just a way to make yourself disoriented and potentially high. They've got a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity. You can pair with 2 devices at once and be just the sexiest little slut at the Consumer Electronics Show. And with their quick charge function, boom, 10 minutes of charging yields 90 minutes of battery. So you can charge this thing for 10 minutes and then walk up behind some unsuspecting person, stick one of these earbuds up their various coat or skirt or whatever, and boom, and you'll shock them.
Again, no.
Yes.
No.
If you press the button,
there's no buttons. No, there's no built-in taser. God damn it.
You mean I got a hold of a prototype pair?
I don't know where you would have gotten a hold of that, but Raycon guarantees no tasing.
I've got a friend in the FBI. And these earbuds also come with active noise cancellation. If you're walking down a street listening to your favorite tunes and all of a sudden you walk next to some guy working on a street with a jackhammer, you hit that button and bam, instantly, an electric charge comes out and neutralizes that guy with that jackhammer until you pass by.
No, there are no electrical charges. Friends, if you need security, there are security options. You can cancel noise. You cannot vaporize the people behind the noise. That is not the Raycon way.
No, he's not vaporized. He's just in a severe case of cardiac arrest, but he'll come back around and you'll be long gone. And folks, Raycon starts at just half the price as other premium audio brands, where when you figure in, it includes this taser feature and a death ray. Raycon.
Oh my God, there's no death ray. There's no taser feature. Once again, no taser feature and no death ray on this creature feature at all. No.
That's right. That was the Swiss Army knife on Gilligan's Island. Well, the everyday earbuds are also available in a variety of vibrant colors. Vibrant color. These are not colors that just sit there and look good. They actually hop around and vibrate. It'll tickle your ears something fierce. With the purple vibrates. It feels like the Diddlator Mach 3. And if you don't fall in love with your Raycons, they offer a 30-day happiness guarantee return policy. No questions asked. That means you're not allowed to ask them, where's my money? They'll get around to it, but there'll be no questions asked on this refund policy. And right now, folks, you can go to buyraycon.com/JCE and get up to 20% off site-wide. That means the entire site. You can buy that particular website, buyraycon, BUYRAYCON. You can buy that website for 20% off now. And that's something I don't think that they realized when they made this arrangement.
That's something I don't think they realized, because it ain't happening. It ain't true.
It said 20% off site-wide. The site is included in everything involving the site.
They will be retaining their domain and their site, but you can, of course...
I think you can get the domain for 20% off.
Let's worry about your own domain, specifically your head, specifically the sounds entering your head, and 20% off of that.
That's why I'm master of my domain. And they got headphones too to keep that shit in there. Don't let it go out your ears where people may steal it from you. 20% off everything on the website, I guess, except the website. They're going to keep that. BuyRaycon.com/JCE, the code to get the 20% off.
That's right, Raycon!